Just had an appointment fall through, so I figured I'd take a moment to do another quick video here today. So as I was driving to the appointment I just got out of, I was thinking about preparation versus vigilance. And the reason I thought of this is I was visiting one of my jobs, and the painters were there and they were painting the exterior of this home, and they had got some overspray onto part of the house. And I pointed out to him and asked, just let's make sure we get that cleaned up before it's all said and done. And he said, oh yeah, we'll get to that. It was windy out that day, and it blew some of the spray and whatnot. And I understand that. How many times in your life have you said, I'm just going to be real careful and everything will be okay? And this is that concept of preparation versus vigilance. Now, you can say, well, I'm going to be really vigilant and make sure nothing happens. I know that this is a danger, this is something that could happen, but I'm going to take the proper steps. Well, no. In fact, you're not taking the proper steps. You're just trying to be really careful. Now, and then, of course, something inevitably goes wrong. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've had to clean up after myself because I was trying to be vigilant with something and ended up spilling or making a mistake or some sort of accident occurred. Now, on the reverse side, there's preparation. Now, again, let's use the painting as this example. Now, if I mask off, if I take this space that's being painted and I put paper or plastic or something around it, I can put a little bit on the sides, and then if I smear it, like for example, you could put like a little piece of tape on your wall or whatever you're trying to mask, but if you brush a little bit too much, it's going to cover the width of that tape and smear onto the paint onto the rest of your wall. Well, okay, now if you take tape and then you put some paper underneath it that spreads out another 1.5 feet, there's no way that your paintbrush could accidentally, unless you have some sort of spasm, your paintbrush isn't going to go onto the rest of your wall. So many times it's taking way more preparation than you think you need in order to make sure that the accident doesn't happen. On kind of a somber note, this is something that I heard many years ago where a guy talked about how you could, I can't remember what it's called, it's like ISO, it's where you teach infants how to swim. So the idea they can put infants in a swimming pool and they know how to right themselves and float on their back, it basically drown-proofs small children. And this guy's point was that vigilant parents lose children to drowning. Vigilant parents get distracted for a moment and the kid runs out to the pool and falls in, and then the worst happens. But if you can take the preparation, you take the time to teach or train to make sure that this kid is drown-proof, these sort of tragedies don't happen. So vigilance is not always the answer. You need to be vigilant in whatever it is you're doing, but you need to take the proper time and preparation to make sure that you can avoid, whether it's something as tragic as losing a family member or something as simple as getting paint onto the floor, when if you would have taken just a little bit more time to prepare, you wouldn't have had to deal with this in the first place. So anyways, next time you go into some sort of scenario where it's going to take some work and you think, well, maybe I'll just really be careful, stop yourself and ask yourself, is it worth the time that it might take me to clean up this mess or to compensate for whatever disaster might happen, whether it be small or large? Or should I take a little more time, take a little more preparation, and ask yourself that question? Is it worth not taking the time to take that little bit of extra preparation? I don't know. If you don't believe me, take a few opportunities and say, hey, what's the worst that could happen? Hopefully you'll change your tune pretty quick after then. So something to think about.